All right, we're officially live. We'll give everyone kind of a minute or so to come in who may not be in the stream yet. So while we're doing that, my name's Austin. This is, I think, the fourth live stream I've done on the channel so far. I try to keep each one focused on a different topic, and I wanted to do something different than just a normal top 10, but I didn't want to do another video going into more detail. So I wanted to bring in some friends and family. And so I have my brother-in-law, Aaron, in the middle, in between us both here. He is my sister-in-law's husband. Gets more and more complicated the bigger the family gets. So, Aaron, you just say hi, introduce yourself real quick, if anything, whatever you want to say.
Hey, I'm Aaron. Just happy to be here and talk about some fun movies.
Yeah, you've watched, I think, all of my live streams so far, so now you get to be on the other side. Yeah. And then, Jeremy, you've been on at least one or two. You've been on one live stream, I think, and a couple videos. So everyone's probably fairly familiar with him, but do you want to say hello?
Hey, everybody.
So in this stream, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite movies and TV shows from 2021. Like I said, I already did a top 10 favorite movies from last year, but there's more than 10 movies that came out in 2021 that I enjoyed. So I wanted a chance to be able to talk about some of my picks, but I also wanted to bring some friends into the conversation too. So feel free, if you're in the comments, to be able to put some of your favorite ones in the comments down below. We can definitely add them to the conversation if they're not ones that we bring up naturally. So you can mention TV shows or movies, or if you have any random questions to us, we'll try to get to the ones we can. So I'll start with either one of you, whoever wants to go first. I guess we can start with Aaron since you're right next to me. You can share your 5 movies that I asked you to pick of some of your favorites from last year, and you can share them one at a time, and we can, if they're an overlap, Jeremy, feel free to mention something, or I can mention something too, and whatever conversation comes from it.
Well, I have a feeling there's going to be an overlap with some of these.
I hope so.
So top 5, not going in order because that would have been way too hard to figure out.
It's more complicated.
Yeah. So I've got Spider-Man: No Way Home, which I'm sure it's
probably on mine. I think it was my 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yep. Then I've got Free Guy up there.
Yep, on my list.
Dune.
Yep.
And
not on my list.
Shang-Chi.
Yep.
And then Black Widow.
Very nice.
Okay.
Very blockbuster list.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy, you had a few overlaps, so go ahead and share yours, and then we can go kind of like one by one through them.
Yeah, I had Spider-Man: No Way Home and Free Guy were our 2 overlaps. And then my other 3 were The Tomorrow War, which was an Amazon release with Chris Pratt. Red Notice, which was a Netflix release with Ryan Reynolds and The Rock, and is it Gal Gadot?
Gal Gadot, yeah. I think that's how you say it.
And then Nobody. I can't remember that actor's name off the top of my head.
Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, so that was I enjoyed that one because that was something different than, not that I like follow his career, but that was something different than he's ever done in the past. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, we just talked about a bunch of movies all at once. Aaron, did you say Tomorrow War was on your list or no?
It was not.
No. Did you like that one very much or no?
It was pretty good. It just felt like it was reaching a little too much in some areas.
Yeah. No. I really enjoyed it. I forget where it was exactly on my list, but it was one I had on my list to talk about tonight. I really liked kind of this somewhat unique take they took on time travel a little bit of kind of, I don't know, I just thought it was a little more of a unique taste. And there's not a ton of movies that can pull off 4 acts story-wise, and I feel like that movie did a good job pulling off 4 acts. Like, they definitely reached, I mean, every time travel movie inherently has its own problems because everyone interprets time travel differently. So I think that's probably where your issues mostly lie, right, Aaron? Isn't the time travel stuff, or was it more with the filmmaking of it?
No, like I thought, like the cinematics and everything were really great. It's just the story wasn't very fulfilling.
Yeah,
like it just kind of left you wondering, like, okay, are they trying to set this up for a sequel on purpose? Is it just kind of leaving some gaps for you to fill in? Like,
yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hey, we got someone from Arizona in the chat. Look at that. Awesome.
Nice.
Cool.
I could give some of my other honorable mentions if you wanted. Like,
that
were on
did
my
any
top
of your honorable
10
mentions
list.
overlap with Aaron's or no?
Yeah, Shang-Chi did.
Yeah.
That was on there. I put No Time to Die on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then was the new Justice League, was that in 2021 or was that
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was in
2020?
March. Yeah.
Yeah, so the remake of that far
Mm-hmm.
superior to the
Yeah.
original. So
Yeah. Yeah. So both of you guys liked Shang-Chi. So it's really hard to get like a definitive list of like how you would rank the MCU because in my opinion, probably 85 to 90% of their movies are really good. So it's hard to like rank them and like put them in the bottom, but I'd probably put Shang-Chi. I haven't made a definitive list for a while, but like probably within at least the top 10 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What about for you guys?
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Mm-hmm. I
I
just
think it's
really go ahead.
I think it's kind of hard to rate them too because they span such a long period of time. So like the
Mm-hmm.
technology and the advancements that they had, like when they first started the MCU,
Yeah.
not that like they were like it wasn't like the Star Wars franchise that it was like way back, but it was still
Yeah.
like I mean there was still a lot of stuff like the Iron Man stuff. They were limited to a degree with some of the stuff that they were doing. And they did
Mm-hmm.
more like some more practical stuff and like more of the CGI stuff that they could do in like the new Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Um, and like Shang-Chi and all that. So I think it's kind of hard to like rate like the original ones with them because it is and it's a different Marvel than like some of the stuff they had in those Marvel movies they would never put in stuff now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, and
but
kind of along with what you mentioned, Mindy, Aaron's wife here, chimed in and said we love Asian representation. But like along those lines, I just loved all of like I'm someone who's just fascinated by Asian culture, with whether it's like Japanese or Chinese. Like I really am interested in that kind of stuff. So it was really cool to see them actually like really lean into the martial arts side of it and
Mhm.
actually like put the work in practically to do a lot of that stunt and fight sequence stuff. So I thought it was just really cool that I mean, I at some points feel like I forgot I was watching an MCU movie when I was
Yeah.
watching that one. And I even coming right out of the theater, I was like, man, that might be one of the best Marvel movies we've had in a while. Like, I mean, obviously you got Infinity War and Endgame, which are pretty high up for most people, but I just really like that. At least so far, at least I appreciate that a lot of the Marvel movies this past year kind of branched out and did something different.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice to see something that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
Marvel was starting to get a little stale of being
Yeah.
the same thing, same heroes over and over
Mm-hmm.
again. It
Yeah.
was nice to see
Yeah.
some new faces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and another one that you mentioned on your list, Aaron, was Black Widow. What'd you like about that one a bunch?
Honestly,
Because I know for
Yelena
some
was the
people,
star of the show.
yeah, because I know some people were kind of like very mixed on that one because it was the whole like 5 years too late kind of thing. So, I mean, I really enjoyed the movie, and I think Jeremy, you did too, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed that
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah. So I was just curious from your perspective, since it was kind of like one of your favorite ones to come out last year. What were some of your? Obviously, Yelena is definitely the highlight. I love Florence Pugh. She's one of my favorite actresses right now.
Like the movie overall, it was kind of like it was pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't great,
Yeah.
but I feel like Yelena kind of elevated the entire movie, and
Mm-hmm.
like since it's giving us a new face, it's going to be kind of a
Yeah.
big character going
Right.
forward.
Yeah, because
It
she's
was really good
basically
to
going to
see.
take the place of Black Widow going forward. I think they're going. I don't know if you've been looking into it at all. It seems like they're kind of forming like a Dark Avengers or something like that. That's like the second
Yeah.
tier. Like they do the more dirty work for the Avengers kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what they're doing with her, and then the new Captain America, like stuff like that. I think is kind of what they're doing with it. Not the new Falcon and Winter Soldier Captain America, the guy who pretended to be Captain America for a while. That one. So I think that's kind of the route they're going with those, which is pretty cool. But yeah, no, I agree. Yelena and I forget the character's name, but David Harbour as their father. I think they definitely like stole the show for that movie. Like they were both just really funny, and it's. I mean, as much as we kind of joke that Black Widow came like 5 years too late, I mean, it is quite impressive that even though some people had mixed thoughts on the movie, Scarlett Johansson kind of got outshined in her own movie, which is saying something because she's really a popular character within the Marvel universe. So it's pretty cool that in one movie, you know, for as much as we're, you know, kind of mixed on it, it's cool that new characters immediately outshined her, and we're already looking forward to what's next with them.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like passing the torch, and I think like Marvel knew that obviously when they were doing the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah, we're
I think
definitely
that's
in a
part
phase
of
of passing the torch because, You know, Black Widow did that, and now Shang-Chi's going to be coming in. And then we got the whole new direction with Spider-Man, which we can talk about that because that was on your guys' top fives too. I know Jeremy and I already did kind of a spoiler deep dive on it, but I'm just really excited about the more unique direction they're taking with Spider-Man now going forward. We can talk full spoilers because the movie's been out plenty of time on here. So what was I think Jeremy and I may have already talked about it, but we can talk about it again with Aaron of some of like our favorite moments from that movie, or at least some of the favorite elements and aspects from it.
My favorite was when Andrew Garfield entered. Like that was
Came through
the
the
highlight
portal.
right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my theater went nuts.
Yep.
I saw one thing. It was like a meme on Facebook yesterday that said like the most hated Spider-Man got like the loudest cheer when he came in, kind of thing. So I just love there's kind of like a renaissance of Andrew Garfield Spider-Man coming back, because the biggest issue with his iteration is he got mediocre movies but gave a really good performance as the character. So yeah, no, I loved it when he came in. I was like, oh my gosh, we're doing this.
It was such a weird moment too, because like with all the spoilers and all the leaks and everything, like you like almost knew it was coming, but you didn't want to hope too much until it actually happened.
Yeah, no, because I think my buddy Josiah, who did the spoiler stream with us, Jeremy, and you both saw it the night before I went, and I think both of you were like, it's everything we wanted. And that gave me like, it didn't spoil it, but it gave me just enough hope that I was like, I don't know how much they're going to be in the movie, but I think it's going to happen, kind of thing. And I honestly went into the movie expecting them to only be in the end credits. So it was awesome that they got to spend so much time in the movie, and they were actually like pivotal to the outcome of the film too.
Yeah.
And
well, like what we said, that they had their character like arc and development within that, and they completed their original stories from their movies. So it wasn't like they just threw them in for like whatever, just to make it look better and get for the ratings. That they actually had a character arc within it. So that was really cool.
And it kind of adds more gravity to the things that happened in their movies too.
Right.
So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Let's go through a couple questions on here. Resident Evil Raccoon City. Are both of you into the Resident Evil movies or no?
I haven't, honestly. I don't think I've seen a single one. Yeah.
I've seen most of the Mila Jovovich ones, but I do want to see the new one. I heard mixed stuff on it. Like he said, there's kind of a lot of hate, but it's one I do want to check out because they're taking a more like original direction with it, like based on the games. I never really played the video games, but I always liked the world of Resident Evil, so it's one I'm kind of looking forward to. Then Dad chiming in with his Dune. Dad's obsessed with Dune. I think he's still only seen it once, but he loved Dune. He can't wait for part 2. He got out, and he and I talked on the phone for like at least half an hour after he got out of the movie, and he's like, I never knew 2.5 hours could go by so quickly. I can't put that on my top 5 or even top 10 until part 2 comes out, because to me, like, that's going to be a whole movie. So that's the only reason it's not on my list. Because the cinematics was great, the music was great, the acting was great, like it was really, really well done. But to me, it's like it's not a complete story, so it's not a So I can't put it on my list until I see. Which I'm not saying part 2 is gonna be bad, but I want to see part 2 before I can. Yeah, you do want to see where they're actually gonna kind of land with everything.
Yeah. So
did you was you like Dune a lot too, right, Aaron?
Oh yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a little slow in parts, but nothing that I could like hold against it, because even when it was slow, like just looking at the cinematics were so fantastic. You can kind of just watch that.
Yeah, even if it's like not moving at the highest pace, like you're still enjoying everything you're looking at and listening to. No, yeah, I've seen it twice now. I watched it since I bought it. Have you still only seen it once, both of you?
Yeah, I've only seen it once.
No, it's a really good one. It's one that almost in watching it a second time, I almost wanted to go watch it a third time already. But yeah, no, I totally understand the criticism of kind of being half a story, because I meant to look back at 2020 to see if I gave any movies that year a perfect score of like a 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10, because I didn't give any movie a perfect score this past year. I gave like a bunch of 4.5s, but no perfect scores. And I think the only reason I didn't give Dune a perfect score is because, you know, it's not a complete story, but at the same time, you can't fully knock it because it is a part one. So
Right.
I think it's
But
just
yeah,
hard
it's not
because we
claiming to
don't
be
have
a
part
full
two
movie.
right. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
claiming to be a full movie. Yeah. So that's why I didn't really want to take too much off for it.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to this is backtracking a little bit, but one thing I forgot to say when we were doing the Spider-Man live stream was one of my favorite parts is when they were talking about the web shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was always like a thing that people talked about, and they actually like
Yeah.
brought it up and had like
They
a full
actually addressed
conversation
it.
about it.
Yeah. Web blood. No, that was a funny one.
So,
I just liked their like chemistry together. They all had really good chemistry with one another.
yeah.
And like each of them being Peter Parker and Spider-Man, they could have very easily just kind of like blended and meshed together, but they all like were still distinct, and they each like had their own kind of jobs to do within the film that only that person, or at least that version of Peter Parker, could do.
Yeah, Peter 1, Peter 2, and Peter 3.
Exactly,
So.
yeah. Cool. One more question, and then maybe I'll mention some of the honorable mentions that I had after this, and then we'll do some TV show talk too. Are either of you guys into Oscar stuff really, or not really? Not into the awards stuff?
I don't really follow it.
I don't
no.
really follow it, but I do try to watch most of the movies that are like nominated and stuff like that. Pig, did you guys see Pig? That was one I
did
want
not
to talk
see
about.
Pig.
So
No.
Pig is streaming on Hulu right now. So if you do have Hulu, you can check it out there. But it's a really interesting. I'll talk about it for a minute or two because it's one I wanted to talk about anyways. It's really cool because it's kind of its setup is like it's going to be like a John Wick action revenge flick kind of thing, because it's like Nick Cage lives alone in the woods with his pig and someone kidnaps it one day and he goes into the city to try and get it back. So it's like very blatantly leaning into that, but it's not. It's more of like a drama and a like character study and kind of exploration of like grief and loss and stuff like that. So it's really interesting and well done, and it really plays with kind of your expectations going in of thinking it might go, because I mean it's Nicolas Cage. He could have very easily just gone crazy and killed a bunch of people, and we would have been perfectly happy with that. But no, I think it was a really good one. I did really like it. It's one I'd like to get at some point and see again, because it's one you don't fully get. You kind of get everything at the end, but then it makes you want to go back and watch it again, kind of from like a different from that perspective of knowing where it lands. So it's definitely one I recommend. And then on that other movie mentioned on here of No Time to Die, you said, Jeremy, that was in your top 5, right?
That's in my top
or your honorable
10.
mention.
Yeah, that's in my top 10 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Aaron,
I don't know. It might be in the top 5. I just kind of
Yeah.
had like the top 5 of movies that I really did enjoy this year.
No, it was in my top 10.
Yeah. So,
Aaron, are you into the Daniel Craig Bond movies?
I am. I didn't catch that one in theaters though. It just
Okay.
like from all the reviews and stuff, it didn't seem like it was a must-see sort of movie.
No,
So
I enjoyed it. Jeremy and I went to go see it together, and it was a really good experience. I thought it was a really good ending to the character. It is really long. It's like almost 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So they probably could have shaved, 20 minutes off of it if they really wanted to. But I thought it was a really worthy conclusion to the Daniel Craig Bond movie. And I am kind of surprised it's not getting any kind of Oscar buzz because, Daniel Craig does a lot of the stunts in that movie and stuff. And there's a great action sequences. I mean, it's not on the tier of Mission Impossible and what Tom Cruise is doing, throwing motorcycles off cliffs, but it's not too far off at the same time. I mean, you've seen the trailers where he takes that one motorcycle up the ramp and stuff, so it's pretty cool.
I mean, James Bond is one of those, like, we didn't really grow up on James Bond, so it was kind of something that we got, like, I started watching. I think it was after like the second one came out of the Daniel Craig version. So it's not something that I've like followed from the beginning, but I have enjoyed kind of like getting into it a little bit later and like watching them. And they match up as a really good movie, but it's not like my go-to, like, one.
Yeah. Aaron, are you into like the other Bond iterations or just the Daniel Craig ones mostly?
So I remember watching a bunch of the Sean Connery ones growing up, like with my dad, but I didn't really. I've seen, I think, all of Daniel Craig's.
Okay.
I didn't watch them until
now, I think.
a year or two after they came out.
Yeah, no, I'm similar with Jeremy. I don't think I got into the Craig Bonds until maybe Skyfall came out, which was the third one. So I
Yeah, I
think
think
that's
that's
right around
around
the
when I
time.
did. Yeah.
But they're really good. I'm cool. I'm glad that they did something different with this new one, No Time to Die, and actually like completed that story arc for that character rather than just like, oh, we're gonna hire a new Bond now and have a new character,
Yeah.
interpretation. So it is cool that we have like a 5 movie arc. Granted, not all the movies are on the same level and quality. Some of them are, they're up and down a little bit, but at least we have a pretty good consistent story across 5 films. It's really cool and well done.
Yeah.
Cool. I wanted to mention, have you guys watched the movie Coda? Have you heard of that one?
No, I haven't even heard of it. No.
It's on Apple TV Plus, but I wanted to mention it because it's actually one that shook up my top 10 list because I watched it after I did my list together. And I think I ended up giving it like the 5th slot on my top 10 list or something like that for favorite movies from last year. But it's kind of like a family drama comedy, and CODA stands for Child of Deaf Adult. And so it's about a family where the parents are deaf and the older brother is deaf, and the sister who's in like high school, she can hear. And so she's getting ready to go to college, and she's really passionate about singing and wants to like go to school for it and stuff, but her family's deaf, so they don't understand, why she would want to do something that they can't, understand and appreciate. And so it's her kind of being torn between helping them because she's translated for them since she was, since she could when she was a kid and stuff, but at the same time, like following her own passions too. So it was just really good and really well done. And it does, and then all the deaf characters are actually deaf in real life too. So just like really good, genuine performances. I'm not sure how much into like drama movie you guys are, but I like to get into drama movies once in a while, and I really enjoyed that. It was one of the few movies from last year that made me cry.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen too often. Well, it happens more and more. I feel like the older I get, the softer I get with movies.
Yeah.
Cool. We talked about that one. Did you guys watch No Sudden Move on HBO? That was like an
you told me
underrated
to
one
watch
from
it,
last
and I didn't
year.
have time to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only on HBO, which is unfortunate. And I don't know if it's an HBO original or if they just have the streaming rights for it. Like it's not on Blu-ray or DVD or anything, but it's a really cool, like thriller from like the 50s or the 60s or something like that. But it's like follows these 3 criminals who are all brought together and they don't know each other at all for this job. And they're supposed to like hold this family hostage for a little while and force them to do something, but the job goes sideways, and so they're trying to figure out what's going on and trying to get out of it safely without getting caught. So it was a really cool, and it's a true story too. At least I think it is based on true events, at least.
Yeah.
But those
we all know how that goes.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the most underrated movies last year for me that I wanted to be able to recommend a little bit. Oh, Aaron, I know you watched this one. I almost wondered if it might be on your list. Was The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, the animated Netflix one that they did? Did you really like that one, or did you just think it was okay?
It was pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
I've read all the books, so it was kind of interesting to see something like that.
You had recommended it in one of the live streams, and I'm pretty into the Witcher show, so I wanted to check it out and get your thoughts on it.
So I liked that, like being animated, you could kind of get the sense of like otherworldliness that you can't really get like with live action at all.
Yeah,
so that was really cool to get from the books because it kind of expanded on stories that weren't in the books at all. So it was kind of a fresh take.
So that movie wasn't based on any, or it was based on kind of events from the books, but it wasn't any stories from the novels.
Yeah, I think it was like its own thing.
Okay, that's cool. I know they're doing another spin-off show, I think this year, for The Witcher. That's the first Witcher. That's supposed to be
that'll
pretty
be
cool.
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, since we're talking about it, did you watch the movie? I think I recommended it to you, Jeremy. I don't remember if you
I
had
haven't
a chance to watch it yet.
I just finished my class, so I was super busy.
No, I know you're busy with school. But yeah, while we're on the topic of The Witcher, I know Jeremy and I both had The Witcher season 2 on like some of our favorite TV seasons from this year. Have you caught up all the way on The Witcher, Aaron?
No, I haven't yet. I need
Okay.
to, but
so we won't talk
I
anything
haven't.
too detailed.
Yeah.
No,
I heard that it doesn't follow the books though, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. it makes me want to read the books because I'm really enjoying the show. Especially, I mean, I know some people, myself kind of included, knocked on the first season for being non-linear and being a little confusing and stuff like that. So
yeah, it was a
it
little
was
bit.
it was a little easier that it was more linear this season.
Yeah, we actually had to look up. I think you said you had to as well, Austin, make sure Siri was like the same actress because she just
Yeah,
looks
'cause
so
she's
different
grown
in
up
this
so
season.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that. I was like, it really looks like her. I'm pretty sure it's her, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it is her.
Yeah, no,
So
I really liked season 2. I saw a couple people said it was kind of like just a bunch of fluff, but I feel like a lot of, I mean, we won't
I
talk
don't
about it
think
because Aaron
so.
hasn't seen it yet. But I feel like a
Yeah,
lot of like important stuff happened. That I felt like every episode something significant to the greater story happened. So
yeah, and I don't think this is really giving anything away by saying this, but I think like especially with Siri's character, she wasn't just like a helpless girl like she was in the first
yeah, she's
season, really.
actually wanting to do better and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I could really appreciate that with her character.
Hmm.
And
But
then with
she's
Geralt, I felt
kind of
like
the
you got to
main
see,
character for the show too.
yeah,
In this season,
yeah,
like her and Geralt are almost on the same level story wise.
yeah. And I think Geralt had more development in this season. Not more than the first season, obviously, but obviously
Hmm.
like it developed his character more, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
So
All right. I think the only other main movie I wanted to mention, which you guys probably haven't seen this one either, it's one that just came out. I think it came out in theaters at the end of last year, like limited release. And then they put it, it's a Prime original. So it's on Amazon Prime if you want to check it out. But it's called The Tender Bar and it's got Ben Affleck in it. Have you heard of that one?
I
It's
have
another
Heard of
not.
it?
drama. It's really good. I really liked it a lot. And so Ben Affleck plays the uncle of this young boy. It's based on a memoir, so it's a true story. I heard they took a bunch of creative liberty, but based on a true story again. But like Ben Affleck plays the uncle of this boy who's just trying to like figure out what he wants to do with his life. I think it takes place in like the 70s. And his father like abandoned him when he was a baby, so he has like some issues with his father. And so his uncle kind of took the father relationship for him and kind of fills that role. And then Ben Affleck's character also owns a bar, and so he's the son or the boy basically spends like his whole growing up life in the bar with all these guys and just learning about life, hearing their stories and all that kind of stuff. And so it takes
Hmm.
place in two different time periods. So you've seen Ready Player One and the new X-Men movies. So Ty Sheridan plays him grown up, who plays Cyclops in that,
Oh,
and then he's the main
yeah.
character in Ready Player One. So he plays it grown up, and then they have a boy playing when he's a kid, and so it flashes back and forth between when he's grown up and when he's younger. So
Hmm.
it was just really good, like kind of like heartwarming, encouraging story. So that's one I definitely recommend checking out, and that one's easier to check out because it's on Prime. I know Aaron has
Right.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Those are the main. I have some other movies, but I don't have to talk about all of them because I want you guys to be able to talk too. So, what were some of your favorite shows from this past year? I'll start with you this time, Jeremy. Besides
Okay.
Witcher season 2.
Yeah. So obviously, Witcher season 2, the Outer Banks show
Mhm.
that's on Netflix, the cartoon Invincible that's on
Mhm.
Amazon Prime, the new Hawkeye show that was on Disney Plus, and then I had Boba Fett on there, which I don't think was even near your list, but I enjoyed it for
No,
what it was. And then
I enjoyed it for what it was, but I had issues with it too.
yeah, I mean it wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it, and it kind of like brought back obviously like pre-existing characters, so that was kind of
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah,
From the
it
other
did do a
shows.
lot of cool things. It just in what it was trying to do with Boba Fett, that's where I feel like I have more of my issues. It didn't
Yeah,
really do what it kind of set out to do.
It just could have been a lot like cooler almost.
Yeah, exactly. And like I think I heard it best explained in one of the reviews I watched of they had a really good setup in first act, but then they kind of skipped the middle act of the story where you like build up all the tension and the rivalries and stuff, and then just like jump to a conclusion and they're like, we're going to war, and it's like there's 8 of you.
yeah,
It was kind of like lackluster in the end and just kind of fizzled out. So I think that's probably, if I was to put it words, my biggest issue is they kind of like skipped the middle act where they really needed to like develop the story more. Like as much as I loved the 2 spin-off episodes with the Mandalorian character, those should have been spent actually developing the middle act of Boba Fett's story instead of just like jumping to the end.
Yeah, I did feel like it was undercasted, that they definitely should have had more, like, even if it was just filler characters, just to have more characters in there. Because like you said, it definitely wasn't realistic that it was like 2, people going like head to head for a war, that it was like, come on. So I do agree with that aspect of it.
And we had the millennials on their speeder bikes that went 5 miles an hour.
Those speeder bikes is what killed me.
Yeah.
I could not stand those.
Like 8 miles an hour, and they're like... There's like the fact that we had a car chase on those speeder bikes, and they don't even look like they're going fast.
No. Yeah.
Cool.
I had other shows too.
Yeah.
Did you want me to mention those or no?
Yeah, you can mention those after we talk. I want to talk about the ones that you mentioned first, and then we'll go into Aaron's, and then we can do some other ones too. Did you watch Invincible, Aaron? Because I know you're into a lot of superhero stuff.
I did not. I haven't seen that one.
It's on
that
Amazon
really
Prime.
good.
Have you heard of it?
I think, is that the animated one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it's the animated one where J.K. Simmons plays Omni-Man, which is like the Superman for that world. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So Jeremy and I watched the first 3 episodes together, 2 or 3 episodes together, I think.
Yeah, I thought we watched more than that, but yeah, maybe it was.
Maybe it was more. Maybe it was more. Maybe it was like half the season. But I still remember you and I were like, "Oh, let's check out this new animated superhero show that's on Amazon.
We'll just watch one episode."
Yeah, we'll just watch one episode, and then episode 1 ends, and you're like, "What happens next?"
Yeah,
like it totally shakes everything up. So it's really cool. You should definitely check it out, especially since you're into superhero stuff, because most of the first episode really plays into like the common story arcs and tropes of like especially DC Comics and the Justice League, and then totally turns everything on its head in the final moments of the first episode. And then like at first you think, and Jeremy, you probably agree with me, you're like, okay, this is good, like I'm enjoying it, but it's very samey than most of the other stuff. But then the final scene happens at the end of the first episode, and you're like, this changes everything.
Yeah.
So it's really good, and it's like super violent, lots of really good.
It's not a kids cartoon.
It is not a kids show. Yeah, it's kind of like, it's not The Boys but animated, but it definitely, like, you can tell Amazon has The Boys too, so it's definitely an adult superhero animated show.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Aaron, what were some of your favorite shows from last year? Because I'm sure you might overlap with some of Jeremy's MCU ones.
So Book of Boba Fett is up there.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon and Winter Soldier wasn't as high on my list. Like, I liked it.
On that
it just wasn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
I was the same way with WandaVision. Like, it was pretty good, but I wasn't looking forward to every single episode, like needing to watch it right away.
Yeah. Did you like fall off at a certain point for that one, or were you that way from the beginning?
I was that way from after watching episode 1. I was just kind of like, okay, this is exactly what I was hoping for.
Yep.
I know a lot of people kind of either didn't like the first 3 episodes because they totally took place within like the TV show, and they didn't like that aspect of it. They liked it more when it was MCU. But then other people loved the first 3 episodes because they were so different and you had no idea what was going on, and didn't like it as much when they opened it up to the MCU. So I did really enjoy that one, and I know Barbie said that was probably one of her favorite shows from last year too. But she's a big Wanda fan. She loves her character and Vision. So, and she liked the romantic elements of that show. But I thought it did good. And I know some people knocked on the ending. Did you guys think it had a good kind of like resolution in the end, or was it okay for you?
It was okay. Mm-hmm. I just felt like they were trying too hard to set stuff up instead of just sealing off the season.
Story. Yeah. I think that's going to be the biggest issue with the MCU shows, is as much as we're going to enjoy them, they're always going to be setting up, here's season 2, here's season 3, like whatever's next. Like, we don't get too many shows anymore that let's just tell an open and closed story within this season kind of thing.
Yeah.
See, that's where like Loki, I feel like, was so good that it was almost like a complete story, but it, like, you felt like everything was fairly resolved at the end, but all the possibilities that came out of that like made it fantastic.
No, yeah, I agree with you on that. Loki's probably, I'm kind of like, I'd say my favorite of the MCU shows so far. Probably WandaVision is still my favorite just because it was so unique for the most part. But then probably tied for second place would either be Loki or the Hawkeye show. But I definitely really like that Loki did something very different. And it was, like you said, a very much here's a, singular story for this one. And even though they set up, here's what could be next, it's more like we're done with the story for this season and here's all the possibilities. Because I didn't even know when the season ended if it was going to be a limited series or if they were going to go into season 2. I wasn't sure if they were just using it as a limited series to kind of be like, now here's the multiverse opportunities, but we wanted to tell our one story for it. So I'm really happy with how that one came out. Did you like Loki a lot, Jeremy? I forget your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I had Loki was on. That was another one I was going to mention. It's in my top 10. Like, it's hard to say if it's my top 5 or top 10. I don't know. Like, some of them kind of go back and forth. And then some of them I remember less than others just because I was watching them back to back, and then I've been just watching a lot of shows. So without like coming from it fresh, I couldn't say like, oh, this is definitely this place. But I did enjoy that show a lot, and I think you got to see the more like newer side of Loki rather than like the like original. Was it the first Avengers movie? Kind of like that he was just the villain. You kind of got to see like where he's coming from and like kind of like what his thought process is when he's kind of like doing stuff. So I appreciated that aspect of it.
No, it's really cool seeing like the Avengers Loki, seeing where he ends up and like his reaction to all that kind of stuff. It does some really cool stuff with his character.
Yeah.
Cool. I think Aaron, you have at least one more show you wanted to mention, right? Or is it I know you mentioned What If before we started the stream.
Yeah, What If was fantastic too. Like I wasn't expecting a whole lot from it, but I really enjoyed the different stories that they told and how they got all the different actors to actually come back and do it.
Yeah.
Of course, Chadwick Boseman's last time as Black Panther.
Yeah. No, I'm glad they got to have that for him. That was a good one. Like I told you before we started, I haven't finished the show yet. Did you watch that one, Jeremy?
Yeah, I watched that one all the way through.
Okay. I got up to the episode right where they kill the Avengers. So the next episode I have to watch is where they're zombies, the zombie Avengers.
Okay.
So I know I got to do the zombie one, and I heard there's a Doctor Strange one where you get like the evil Doctor Strange and stuff, which I need to finish it because that's where Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is going to come in. So so I need to watch it because that's definitely going to lean into that. Cool. Did you guys have any other shows you want to mention?
Not any other shows really.
Okay.
I watched Superman and Lois, which was on the CW.
I'd kind of written off all the CW shows, but I've heard Superman and Lois is actually pretty good.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it so far. It was just the first season, so we'll see kind of where it goes from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really enjoyed it. So
yeah, I just don't love the casting of the guy they picked for Superman because he's not like Henry Cavill huge kind of thing. And I really like that iteration. So, but I've heard he does a good job, and I've heard it's actually a good series. So I maybe should at least give that one a chance.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we talked about The Witcher, Invincible, and WandaVision. Those were all on my list. I think I've told you about this one, Jeremy, but I don't think I've mentioned it to Aaron. The Arcane series that Netflix did. Have you watched that one? It's Arcane League of Legends, which I know nothing about League of Legends. I don't know if either of you guys play League. But it took so there's like apparently hundreds of characters within the world and lore of League of Legends. And so they just took a bunch of those characters and wrote a bunch of stories and stuff around it. And they created what might be my favorite show from last year, probably behind the other one I'll mention in a little bit. But I think it did such a good job telling great story with great characters. It's animated, but it's like literally some of the best animation I've ever seen. And it's really interesting how they tell the story because it's told, I think it's 9 episodes and it's told in 3 acts. And so each act is 3 episodes. So you get like 3 hours for each story act. And there's a bit of a time jump in between each one, but you're following along with the same characters along the way. So I think I've been recommending it to you a bunch, Jeremy, but I know you're so busy trying to keep up on all this other stuff. So I don't know when you'll get to it, but I would definitely highly recommend it to both of you and anyone else who's watching who hasn't seen it, because it was really well received, like through the fans of the series, as well as like people like me who have no idea what League of Legends is. I just watched it based off of a friend of mine who watches League of Legends and was like, hey, I know you know nothing about this, but he's like, you're going to really like this show. So I'm glad I watched it because, like I said, it might be my favorite show that came out last year.
Wow.
The only other show I wanted to mention was Midnight Mass, which I don't know if, Aaron, I don't know if you're into horror stuff at all. I know, Jeremy, you do once in a while.
Once in a while, yeah.
Yeah, you used to be a little more, but you got a little softer now that you're married.
Yeah.
And she doesn't.
My tastes have changed, a bit. So.
Yeah. No, Midnight Mass I thought was fantastic. I don't know if you guys watched the video I did on it on the channel, but I just thought it did a great job tying in a really cool story with really interesting philosophical and spiritual questions to do with like Christianity and stuff like that. So it's a really interesting commentary on like Christian faith and stuff like that, but told through like the lens of horror, which is really cool. And I think there's not enough creators willing to mix horror and Christianity, because there's a lot of scary stuff within Christianity that we kind of write off and just think we're not supposed to talk about. But I think there's so many opportunities with it too. So, I mean, the thing I liked most about the show, I think, is just the conversations that people had about like life and death and, you know, sin and all that kind of stuff. So I thought it was really interesting and a really cool story as well. So so Arcane and Midnight Mass would definitely be probably my favorite shows from last year, with The Witcher kind of as the third place slot there. So I'm glad I got to tell you guys about them.
Yeah, I watched your video on Midnight Mass, and I waited to watch it at first because I'm like, oh, I hope it doesn't have spoilers. But I was like, oh, I'll just watch it, and just if he does, he does. So yeah. I was like,
I think I spoiled it like halfway through. I gave a warning.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Another show recommendation Mindy gave on here was Shadow and Bone. Aaron, I don't know if you watched that one with her or if she watched it without you. Did you watch that one too?
I think that's one she's been watching on her own.
Okay. I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of it. It's a Netflix original. Have you seen it at all, Jeremy?
No, I haven't.
I think it's based off of either a graphic novel or a book series. I'm not 100% sure. But and I liked it. I just couldn't get into it enough to fully commit to it. But I'm really bad. Like, I have to be really into a show to watch the whole thing. So the busier I get, the pickier I have to be with what I watch. So it's one that I did really enjoy, and I thought it was an interesting story. I couldn't tell you much from it because it's been a while. I only watched the first couple episodes, but another one someone mentioned. Do you guys watch Billions at all? I know it's a Showtime one, so you have to have that network for it.
I don't have Showtime, so
yeah, I don't. I think I had like a free trial for it once, and I watched the first few episodes. I did like it, but I never stuck with it. I at least watched the first episode. I know that. Cool. Okay, we're all caught up in the comments. Was there any other shows or movies you guys wanted to mention?
Stuff I didn't get to watch. If I had the streaming services,
let's talk about stuff we haven't watched. Is there any big stuff you guys haven't watched?
The new Yellowstone. Season 4 we haven't watched yet. The 1883 like prequel to Yellowstone one, we haven't seen that yet. And then Dexter, A New Blood. I've watched like the original series a couple times, and that's like one of my favorite shows ever.
Yeah.
But I don't have the streaming service, so, and it's on Amazon Prime, but you can only watch the first episode for free, and I'm not paying to watch each individual episode. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait until it's on physical, and then I'll just buy it. So
yeah. Well, and I think it's coming out in March or April, 1883. So you can always that's what I'm planning on doing, because it was the same way for me. I wanted to watch the show, but you can only watch the first episode for free, I think. So I'll just wait for it to come out. But I really enjoyed Yellowstone season 4. I don't know. Do you watch Yellowstone, Aaron?
I haven't, but I've heard great things about it, so I want to.
It's probably one of my favorite ongoing shows right now.
Yeah, I would say it's probably one of the best like live shows right now.
Yeah,
probably.
I think there's a rumor we might even get season 5 like this year already.
Oh, wow.
Even though season 4 like just happened. Yeah, I'm excited about that one. I don't think I wrote down any shows. Oh, I haven't watched Squid Games yet. I'm probably the only person on earth who
You
hasn't
haven't?
watched Squid Games. It's been on my Netflix queue for a long time.
I haven't seen it, so
Yeah,
you're
but
not
it's
the only
hard
one.
because I don't know about you, Aaron. Do you watch dubbed or do you watch with subtitles?
We did both at the same time.
Okay, because anything foreign, I opt for subtitles because I like to get the performance. And so for shows like that I have to actively watch and I can't just like casually watch and do something else, it's harder for me to commit to watching those. So that's why I haven't started it yet.
Just after you watch the first episode, you'll be in though.
Yeah, I feel like that's how Invincible was. So I feel like that's kind of what I've heard. I'll be all in on it. And it seems kind of similar to a couple like animes and stuff I've watched. So I'm really curious to check it out.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest show from last year that I haven't watched, surprisingly. Is there any other movies you guys missed from last year that you haven't seen yet that you want to? Because I know there was a few I missed that I've been catching up on.
I didn't write any down. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Because I watched, like I said, I watched Pig recently. And then just over the past few days, I watched the Netflix one, The Power of the Dog, which is like their new Western with Benedict Cumberbatch in it. It's getting like a bunch of awards and stuff. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I didn't love it as much as everyone else seems to be. Nightmare Alley is a new kind of like period drama. Not really horror, but I mean, Del Toro's kind of known for doing horror stuff. But that one was good too. And then I did watch Spencer. I don't know if you're into the royal family at all. I'm not, but I did really like the movie, The Spencer. It's about Princess Diana.
No, I didn't. I haven't seen any of those. So.
Yeah. Let me see if there's anything else I missed on my list. Did you guys watch? Oh, you want to watch a really fun one with Nicolas Cage actually going crazy, unlike he does in Pig? You should watch Willy's Wonderland. Did you guys watch that one?
No,
it's like
I think
the evil Chuck E. Cheese, where he like stays in there.
No, I don't even think I've seen the trailer for that one.
So he plays this like drifter, and he just rolls into this small like Midwest town one day, and he's hired. His car breaks down, and so they say, hey, we'll fix up your car because he has no money if you stay the night and clean up this Willy's Wonderland place, which has been shut down for years, but they're trying to get it reopened. And so he stays there for the night, and the characters, which are basically Chuck E. Cheese characters, are like possessed by demons and like come to life at night and kill people. And so he just spends the whole night locked in this thing fighting these animatronic Chuck E. Cheese creatures.
Oh my
Did somebody have a bad experience at Chuck E. Cheese when they were young or something?
Yeah, I guess.
The coolest thing about the movie is he's a silent protagonist. He doesn't speak a single word in the entire movie.
Really?
He just yells and screams while he's killing all the monsters and stuff like that. So like just for his like unique performance alone, I think that one's worth checking out. It's one of those like 90-minute fun action movies that you can like throw on kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because we just don't get enough of those anymore. We get too many 2.5, 3 hour shows or movies.
Did either of you guys see Without Remorse with Michael B. Jordan?
That was the what's his name, the author one,
Tom Clancy.
Right? Tom Clancy, yeah. I didn't see that one. I heard he was good in the movie, but I heard the movie wasn't very good.
Yeah, it had some really good action sequences. I mean, and Michael B. Jordan's awesome. So
yeah,
that's what made it worth it to me. And it was on Prime, so very easily accessible.
Pretty easy accessible. Yeah. Prime does some pretty good stuff for the most part. I know they have the new Jack Reacher TV show that they're doing. I haven't watched that one yet, but I've heard that one's really good. Is there any movies? We'll wrap up with any movies you guys are most looking forward to this year. I know we were talking before we went live about a few movies and shows that we were excited for, so we can share them on here and then wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Dune movie that's going to be coming out.
Well, it's next year. That's not this year.
Oh, is it next?
Yeah, it's like next October or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah. It would be nice if
string you along.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they are doing like a spin-off show on HBO for the Bene Gesserit people.
How are they?
Yeah,
okay.
So that could be interesting. But I know they're going into production on the sequel this year. I think they're going to start filming in the next month or two.
Okay.
and then it's coming out. So I think next summer or maybe next fall, something like that. But all right, Mindy wants Uncharted.
That does look really good.
It does look pretty cool. I think the early reviews are starting to come out for it, and I haven't read any of them yet. But I have played. I haven't finished any of the. Well, no, I did finish the first Uncharted game. So I've played through the first one, most of the second one, and a good bit of the fourth one. I don't know if you guys have played through most of the Uncharted games or not.
Yeah, I've done the third and the fourth. I think is the ones I've been played.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I mean, we're all Tom Holland fans, so it does look like it's pretty cool. I've heard like it kind of like leans into the whole Indiana Jones stuff and whatnot. So I'm pretty excited to kind of like just get like a fun adventure movie kind of thing. I think we don't get enough of those.
Yeah,
and I think that just comes out in a couple like this weekend, maybe this next weekend, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
pretty quick.
Yeah, and I know. Is Batman on top of your list for anticipated for this year, the new Batman movie?
Yeah, I mean, I am interested to see that. I mean, obviously everything got pushed too. I think we're still seeing some of the effects of that. So I'm actually forgetting what's coming out this year. That's why I said Dune. But so I don't remember everything that's coming out or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I'd say the Batman's definitely my most anticipated. I'm also, I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, I'm actually excited for the second Avatar movie to come out this year.
Oh, that's this year?
Yeah, that comes out this December.
Oh, that's right.
Is that a positive reaction or is that a dreaded reaction? Because I know for some reason I feel
like we've been waiting so long.
Avatar. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no,
I
am
like 15 years.
Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing part 2. Hopefully it I don't know if it'll do as well as the first one because the first one was just so like unique with what it was doing. So I think so many people just wanted to go see it. But I mean, yeah, hopefully they can do well with this one so they can. They're making 4 of them, right?
They're making 4 more, yeah, and they're gonna come out like once a year for the next 4 years.
Didn't they shoot all of have them all shot already, and now they're just like going into the special effects?
At least the next 2 are shot fully. The second one and the third one are fully shot at this point. But there's just, so many special effects for that movie or any of those movies. Like I've heard the most of this next movie takes place underwater. So they had to develop like underwater performance capture technologies, which is like insane. And what's her name? Kate Winslet from Titanic. She broke the world record and beat Tom Cruise for the longest time holding your breath underwater. She held her breath for like almost 8 minutes.
Oh my God. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't even think it was for like a continuous shot. She just like hold her breath for that long underwater. But no, I'm really excited for the next one because I heard it put well in a podcast I listened to that whatever you think of the first Avatar movie, whether you hate it because it was just the same story as Pocahontas kind of thing, like that movie was like the proof of concept for the technology and stuff like that. And so James Cameron spent 20 years working on the technology for that one between Titanic and this, and then now that the technology has proven to work and continue to develop, he's had 15 years to develop like a really good story, hopefully, for what's coming.
Hopefully.
So hopefully 15 years is long enough to write a really good story for the next few movies.
Yeah, I don't think he really has an excuse if it's not good. So
yeah, exactly. He definitely had plenty of time. Okay, I do have a list of movies I missed from last year, so let me fire these off and see if you guys saw them because I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. I still haven't seen the newest Fast and Furious movie. Did you guys watch that one? No.
I heard it was awful.
I own it. I got it on Black Friday. I just haven't watched it yet. I still have not seen Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
That was good.
It was.
That was.
I mean, I've heard. I mean, the Venom movies are what they are, and you just kind of accept it or ignore it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Halloween Kills. I know neither of you are really into those ones anymore. The biggest. This is one of the biggest ones I missed from last year. I really want to see is Last Night in Soho, the new Edgar Wright movie. It's like kind of horror drama period type thing. The Last Duel. Did you guys see that one? Either of you?
No.
The one with Adam Driver and Matt Damon in them. The new Ghostbusters Afterlife. I haven't seen that one yet. No? Are either of you into Ghostbusters much?
No, not really.
You're making me feel like
I've only
watched
seen
anything,
the first
Austin.
one. Well, these are the movies I've missed too, so don't feel bad. And then I have Resident Evil Raccoon City on here. And I haven't seen the new Scream movie, but that's from 2022. So cool. So anything else you guys want to make sure we mention as we wrap up the movies of 2021 that we loved?
Ryan Reynolds killed it last year.
He did. Yeah. He's got another good year coming for this one because have you seen the new trailer for his new Netflix movie? He's directing
Adam Project.
Yeah, the Adam Project. It's like a new time travel movie that he's going to be in. It looks pretty cool. The trailer just came up for it the other day.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited for that. And DC seems like they got a pretty good slate for this year. I don't know if you saw the new trailer they did like a trailer for all their movies coming out this year. It's like a minute long. And so you got shots from like The Flash and Black Adam and all that kind of stuff. So The Rock's going to have another big year. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for coming on the stream. I hope you had a fun time.
I
enjoyed the conversation. It was fun. So I appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you, everyone who watched in the comments. If you missed any part of the conversation, this will be up on my channel afterwards. So you're welcome to go back and do a rewatch. Feel free to comment down below. I always try to hop in the comments after live streams and see what other people are saying and talking about. So I'd be happy to see you there and have you join the conversation. So thanks again, guys, for coming on. And to everyone else, I'll see you guys in the next video.